Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainiac Baseball's 1980 Detroit Tigers season replay. Today's matchup is between the Detroit Tigers and the Baltimore Orioles at Memorial Stadium. On the mound for Detroit is Rick Reuschel, whose record is 6-12 with a 5.16 ERA. And facing the Tigers is Jim Palmer, whose record is 12-7 with a 3.65 ERA. And now, as we're looking forward to the All-Star break, today's our last chance to get a victory and climb back within 4 games of first place. Since June 1st, we are now under 500, so we are going through a rough stretch, and the All-Star game can't come quick enough for us. So we can give some rest to our batters and maybe reconfigure our starting five. Maybe make a trade, maybe bring some people up for the minors. So everything's on the table right now as a possibility. So we're definitely struggling. And the fact that we don't have our 2 best center fielders for the rest of the year is definitely affecting us defensively. So today we are going to be playing the 3rd and final game here in Baltimore. Let's go ahead and get it started. And as always, I appreciate everyone following along. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Also, this weekend, we're going to be having many sport card box and pack openings. So if you're interested in that content, stay tuned. And we have contests that we run every month. But this week, I'm going to be having 2 contests. So stay tuned for that. And so here we are. All of our bullpen is available. Yesterday, Aurelio Lopez had a save opportunity in the 9th, and he completely melted down, which is 2 appearances in a row where we haven't been able to rely on him to close out games. So not looking so good in the bullpen. And then here's our lineup against Jim Palmer. As I mentioned before, I was going to give the last 2 games of the series off for Carlton Fisk, and I put Wagner in there at DH. He's now on a 6-game hitting streak after having 2 doubles yesterday. So, and Steve Kemp is listed as tired, but I feel like I need to have him in there to have my best possible lineup to try to win, especially how desperate we are right now. So. And as I've been doing, I'm going to go ahead and do the lineup rundown, and then over here on the right side, you'll see the 1980 Topps baseball card to represent the batter. So leading off for Detroit is Sweet Lou Whitaker. Here's his stats for the season thus far. And batting second and playing shortstop is Alan Trammell. Batting third and at third base is Richie Hebner. Batting cleanup and catching is Lance Parrish. Batting fifth and in left field is Steve Kemp. Batting sixth and playing first base is Jason Thompson. Batting seventh and in center field is Bob Baylor. Batting eighth and in right field is Gary Hancock. And batting ninth and DHing today is Mark Wagner. And on the mound for Baltimore is the current American League wins leader, Jim Palmer. He's making his 21st start of the year, 12-7, 3.65 ERA. Opponent's batting average is .237. He has 6 complete games and a shutout. So he's probably the leading candidate for the American League Cy Young right now. And leading off is Sweet Lou. He's 5 for 13 with a home run against Jim Palmer. And Whitaker starts the game off by grounding to second base. That's going to be the first out. So 1 down. Here's Trammell. Trammell's going to hit a high fly ball to center. And Bunbury has it for the second out. 2 down. And here's Richie Hebner. Hebner grounds it to short. And that's a 1-2-3 inning. And we head to the bottom of the first. Here's the lineup for the Baltimore Orioles. Same lineup they've used in the first 2 games of the series. Batting leadoff is catcher Glenn Borgman. Batting second and in center field is Al Bunbury. Batting third and playing first base is Hall of Famer Eddie Murray. Batting cleanup and in left field is Jeff Burrows. Batting fifth and DHing today is Gary Reuschel. Batting sixth and at third base is Doug DeCinces. Batting seventh and in right field is Kenny Singleton. Batting eighth and at second is Phil Gardner. And batting ninth and playing shortstop today is Dave Concepcion. And here's our starting pitcher, Rick Reuschel. We acquired him earlier in the year from the Cubs. And this is his 7th start for Detroit, a 2-3 record, 4.71 ERA. He's got 2 complete games. His numbers are indicative of his every other game pitching performance. He pitches good enough to win in some games, and in other games he gets completely blown out. So we'll see which Reuschel we get today against the Baltimore Orioles. And here's Glenn Borgman leading off the bottom of the first. Borgman grounds it to Hebner at third, and that's the first out of the inning. Next up is Al Bunbury, who strikes out on a 71-mile-per-hour curveball. So 2 down for Bunbury, for Reuschel, as Eddie Murray steps in. And Murray rips it right to Jason Thompson at first base, and that's the third out. So a 1-2-3 inning. We head to the top of the second. Lance Parrish will lead off the inning. Parrish strikes out swinging. So it's 1 down for Steve Kemp. As I mentioned, he is listed as tired as he strikes out there. He had a sacrifice fly to score the tying run yesterday. So we're hoping he can contribute in some way as Palmer strikes out the side. So that's a 1-2-3 inning, and we head to the bottom of the second. Jeff Burrows is going to lead off the inning. He's 4 for 7 against Reuschel. And he grounds it to Whitaker at second base for the first out. And that brings up Gary Reuschel, who had a home run in yesterday's game. He's popping it up into foul ground on the first base side. And Thompson has it for the second out. It's going to leave it up to Doug DeCinces. And he's going to fire it into the right center field gap, and it will be caught by Gary Hancock. And that is the third out. So nothing on the board for either team after 2. And we head to the top of the third with Bob Baylor leading off. And Baylor is going to hit a rainbow to center field. And it's deeper than I thought, 353 feet. So short of the warning track. And this is going to bring up Gary Hancock, who I've moved all the way down into the 8th spot. He's batting under 200 in his last 20 games, and his batting average has plummeted because of it. So I thought I'd move him down in the lineup and see if we can't get something going. None of our hitters are doing anything right now, except for Mark Wagner, who went 2 for 3 yesterday. And in his first at bat, he grounds it right back to Palmer for the third out. So here we are in the bottom of the third. Ken Singleton's going to lead it off. And Singleton pops it up just past the mound. And Whitaker has it for the first out. So one down for scrap iron, Phil Garner. Garner grounds it to first. And it's 2 outs. And that will leave it up to Dave Concepcion. And he flies out to right field. So both pitchers so far pitching a perfect game. Yeah, that's right, I jinxed it. As Lou Whitaker bloops it right over the second baseman's head for a base hit. I would think that Whitaker should be able to make that. His speed is better than Ken Singleton's noodle arm. So we're gonna stretch it. We got nothing to lose. Oh, Whitaker is out at second. So Kenny Singleton nabs Whitaker at second base. And, we got to take chances, I guess. We had a 50-50 shot, according to the odds of the game, as Trammell gets a hit. So back-to-back hits for Detroit. And with one down and Trammell at first, Hebner comes to the plate, and he's going to walk. So Palmer's finding himself in a jam as he's given up 2 hits and a walk so far. And now I wish I hadn't stretched that hit by Whitaker. So we need Parrish to come through here. He's definitely a double play candidate, and he's 0 for 12 against Palmer. So we need him to do anything good, but no, he's going to pop it up to second. So at least it's not a double play. And so Kemp with 2 down, who's been doing fairly poorly in the last few games. He gets a base hit here past the third baseman, Doug DeCinces, and run scores. So even though he's listed as tired, he comes through in the last game and this game, and now we have a 1-0 lead. So we're not going to be playing from behind, at least at this point. And there's JT popping it up into foul ground as, it says behind home plate, but that's not what it looked like to me. So we're going to the bottom of the 4th, and we have a 1-run lead. Here's Glenn Borgman back to the top of the lineup for the Orioles. And Borgman grounds it to short, and Trammell has it for the first out. So 1 down as Al Bumbry comes in, the only left-handed batter in the lineup. He grounds it to Trammell as well, and that will be the second out. And that's going to bring up Hall of Famer Eddie Murray. He's a switch hitter. He's 0 for 5 against Reuschel this year. And that ends there as he's going to hit it down the right field line. And he holds at a single. So good job by Hancock, keeping him from going for 2. And so Jeff Burrows comes up, and he's going to strike out swinging. So no harm on the base hit by Murray. That ends the perfect game, no-hitter hopes. And so we head to the top of the 5th, and we have the bottom 3 of the lineup, starting with Bob Baylor. Baylor's 1 for 7 against Palmer, and he hits it straight up on the infield into shallow center field, and the shortstop Dave Concepcion has it for the first out. So 1 down for Gary. And he's popping it up into foul ground. And that will be caught for the second out. So it's going to bring up the number 9 hitter, Mark Wagner. And he's going to take a third strike looking. So we head to the bottom of the 5th. Scores 1-0. Reuschel's sitting at 45 pitches. And Gary Renick, who's 3 for 5 against Reuschel this season, leads off. And he's going to get a base hit to center. And he's going to hold it first as Bob Baylor gets it back in quickly. So runner at first for Doug DeCinces. And he's going to rip it right past Trammell. And that's back-to-back hits for the Orioles. And we find ourselves in a little jam. Maybe the tides are turning here. Ken Singleton now has a runner in scoring position, and he strikes out swinging. That's 3 Ks for Reuschel. And so with one down, I kind of want to pull the outfield in, but maybe we could turn two if we leave the outfield back. Nope, I should have done it as Gardner hits it to the right side. Ooh, and everyone just advances one bag. So Gardner cannot drive in the run, and that's going to bring up Dave Concepcion with the bases loaded. He's the number 9 hitter. Okay, I'm going to bring the corners in so they can go home. And otherwise, I guess we see what happens. And Concepcion lines it to right. And that's going to be a sac fly as the runner from third scores, Gary Reuschel. And the game's tied. So it's 1-1, 2 down. Glenn Borgman, still runners in first and second. And Borgman hits it high into left center field. And it's going to be caught before the warning track by Kemp. So that ends the inning. We head to the top of the 6th. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the in-game batting stats. And only 7 hits between the two teams, so not a lot to look at, as both pitchers have been fairly decent with only one inning of relinquishing the runs. So Whitaker leads off the inning by flying to center. That's 1 down. I almost feel like I need to lay down a bunt or do something to switch it up. But Trammell is 4 for 15 against Palmer, so I'm going to let him swing away. And he grounds it to DeCinces at third. And that's the second out. So it's going to be up to Richie Hebner, who does not have a hit against Palmer this year, but he has 3 walks. And there we go. Oh, I thought that was going to get through the right side. As the second baseman, Garner, throws out Hebner, and we head to the bottom of the 6th. So this is where things tend to get a little wonky for Rick Reuschel. And it doesn't help that there's a lefty, Al Bumbry, leading off the inning. And there you go, he gets a base hit past Hebner at third. And he's going to stretch it to a double. So a runner at second, nobody out. Here's Eddie Murray. And Murray walks. So, first and second, Jeff Burrows comes to the plate. He definitely has Rick Reuschel's number. And I'm hoping we can turn 2 here with a ground ball, but nope, he's going to slap a base hit to right. Bumbry will score easily. Murray advances to third, and there we go. Baltimore takes the lead back. Now we got to pull the infield in. We could definitely not allow another run to be scored so easily. And Reuschel's going to strike out swinging. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the infield in again. I would love to have a double play. Maybe we can go home to get one in first for the second out. And DeCinces is going to help us out by popping it up to the first baseman, Thompson. So 2 down. And here's Kenny Singleton as Rick Reuschel's pitch count is ballooned to 84. So we'll keep the defense in normal situation, and Singleton strikes out looking. So the Orioles take over the lead with their ace on the mound, and we are not looking good. We are not getting anything going against him. As Parrish does start the game, the inning off with a base hit, and we're not even going to risk it. So this would be a good time to try to lay down a bunt again, but we're going to let Kemp swing away. He does lead the team in grounding into double plays, and this is going to be a double play here. Oh no, it's going to be booted by the first baseman, Eddie Murray. That's not something you expect him to do. And so everybody's safe. So we have runners at first and second for JT, and it's been a while since JT's come through with anything. And a wild pitch is going to advance the runners to second and third. So it's a 1-0 count for Thompson. And I'd settle for a sac fly here. But instead he's going to ground it to the shortstop. Parrish scores as Concepcion goes to first. And that's 1 out. Kemp remains in scoring position for Bob Baylor. The game is now tied. And so Baylor flies out to left for the second out. And now Gary Hancock comes to the plate. The last four batters in the lineup are all with offers right now, as at least Hancock gets a walk. And for as good as Mark Wagner's been doing, I sort of feel like I should pinch hit for him right now with somebody who might have a little bit more power. So I'm going to do that. We need this game. So we're going to pinch hit with Champ Summers. Here's Champ's stats. Want to take a look. And that's maybe not a bad move, as Summers is 3 for 6 with a walk against Jim Palmer. It's a 1-0 count, and Summers is going to pop it up on the infield to third baseman DeCinces, and that gets the Orioles out of the inning. So the score's tied at 2. Reuschel's at 90 pitches, and at this point we're going to have to keep him on a short leash, as the number 8 hitter, Phil Garner, is coming up. He's 4 for 8 with a home run against Reuschel. And seriously, he's hurt us pretty much the whole season. I think this is the last Orioles game of the year for us. Maybe there's one more series after this, but I can't wait for them to be off the schedule. Gardner flies out to center, so 1 down for Concepcion, and he's going to get a base hit to right. That's the 7th hit against Reuschel. And that flips over the lineup back to Borgman. 1 down for Borgman. Borgman walks. And here's a lefty, Al Bumbry, and I'm going to have to take out Reuschel. He's at 100 pitches. He really hasn't pitched horribly, but we know that you bring up a lefty in a situation like this, and they seem to come through every time against us. So we're going to bring in Pat Underwood. He hasn't pitched in a few games, so he should be well rested. Yeah, Bumbry is 2 for 4 against Pat Underwood. So we'll see how this plays out as Bumbry crushes it to left field off the wall. 2 runs score, and the lead is 4-2 for the Orioles. So that backfired in the worst possible way. And we just we're not. They're the better team. We are not to their standard. Underwood does get Murray to ground to first. Bumbry advances to third, and that's going to be it for Underwood, who coughs up the lead. And I guess under the circumstances, we're going to try to bring in Roger Weaver. In these type of situations, I tend to look at the pitchers who have pitched the least amount of innings between the righties when we're down like this, because things like that happen and you can't do anything about it, with Burrows getting a base hit to center field, and the lead is extended to 5-2. So 2 down for Renicky. He's going to hit a high fly ball to right. And Hancock has it for the third out. So we head to the bottom of the 8th. Back to the top of the lineup with Sweet Lou. And Lou is going to ground it to the second baseman, Phil Garner. And that's 1 down. So Tram comes to the plate, and he also pops it up on the infield. And actually, it's on the outfield grass, but it's caught by Gardner, so 2 down. Hebner is going to ground it to first, and we are on the verge of being swept and pushed back to 6 games out of first. We're going to leave Weaver in there against these righties here in the bottom of the 8th. DeCinces flies out to deep right center field, 365 feet. 1 down. Here's Kenny Singleton. Singleton grounds it to Whitaker for the second out. And Phil Garner comes up. Garner's going to ground it to first. but the damage has been done. As we find ourselves down 5-2 here in the top of the ninth inning, Palmer's not even at 100 pitches yet. And I'm all out of ideas. So I guess we're going to let Parrish swing away here against Palmer. And he goes down swinging. It's 5 Ks for Palmer, who's been completely dominating. One down, and Steve Kemp pops it to second. And we are 1 out away from heading into the All-Star break on a 4-game losing streak and being 6 games back. And that's what you kind of expected to happen. So we take the loss 5-2 to Baltimore. I'm very disheartened over this. There's no trade offers, which, I mean, why would there be? And so we're going to look at the transactions real quick. And St. Louis starter Pete Vukovich gets a 4-year extension for $580,000. Oh, wow, look at this. Dennis Leonard pitched a no-hitter. Good job by him. Well, I was going to try to take a look at that no-hitter, but since the game doesn't really seem to want me to click on him, I don't know why it's struggling. There we go. Let's take a look at his game log real quick. So, yeah, it's 113 pitches, no hits. He did have 4 walks, 9 strikeouts. So that's cool. That's the first no-hitter of the year. And let's go ahead and pull up this box score. Keep in mind that even though it's a day off, I will show you this day off because that's when it shows us the All-Star Game participants. And then we'll play the All-Star Game, and that'll be one video. And then the following video will be all league leaders halfway through the season type video. Okay, so here's the box score. 1-5 so far in July. We're back to being just 9 games over 500. And we are doing poorly. I don't even know who to give the player of the game to. I guess it would have to be Kemp, who drove in the first RBI despite being tired. Reuschel pitched well. Maybe I'll give it to Reuschel. He deserves it. Underwood gave up the big blast that took the lead away from us. And Jim Palmer, I mean, lights out. So he's 13-7, has sole possession of the wins lead. And that's it for the first half of the season, everybody. Man, if you've been following along this far, I really appreciate it. Kudos to you. And we'll see what happens in the second half of the year. Until then, have a good night.